Hello, everyone. Something is happening on this planet, and most of the people are able to feel it, even if they can't name it, even if they can't pinpoint what exactly is happening. Old systems are coming down, the things that were hidden are coming to surface, and millions of people across the world are waking up to the reality that's far bigger than what they were taught. Welcome everyone who are watching this video. My name is Pradnya. Some of you may already know me, but for those who don't know me, I'm a spiritual counselor and I have been guiding people on their spiritual journey and ascension experience for past 5 years. Since I started my spiritual journey and I started navigating my paths on my own, I was alone. However, as I have grown and the things have started unfolding for me, there are two amazing people that have also joined hands with me for a very, very exciting project that we are coming up with. First is my soul sister Shahida, and another is my soul brother Karthik. All three of us met last year in the spiritual retreat that I had conducted. And since then, there have been so many things that are miraculously falling in place. And all three of us have come together for something which we feel absolutely excited about. And we are here today to introduce you to a platform called Ascension Accelerator Programme that is designed to bring science and spirituality together for all those who feel that there is something changing around them. However, even before we start getting into the depths of this program and start talking about it more, we are making this video exclusively to introduce ourselves and share our journeys, how our journeys so far have been like, and why we feel this calling to come together as one entity or one framework to do something beyond what we are already doing in our lives. How are you feeling? This is the first recording that we are doing for this particular venture or a project. So, and I'm very much excited. Even looking at that background that we have set, I get like a big excitement. So, I wanted to ask Shahida, how is it that you are feeling and what is it that you want to say?
Yeah, equally excited about today's recording and video. Just seeing the three of us all together is like having a very nice feeling of what is going to come. So looking forward of what is going to come out. So about myself, I have been wondering what should I talk about myself. But from a 3D perspective, I think so a very ordinary, simple, next door kind of a girl who is, a wife and a mother of a daughter who is living a very 3D kind of a life. But yeah, I think so over the years, I think so after my spiritual awakening in 2019, I think so things have turned and I guess I have found, at least for now, I have found what is my soul mission and soul purpose. Looks like there is a lot that is going to get disclosed in the coming years also. To get into more details, I think so during the past 5 or 6 years, I was very much interested in the subject of exopolitics, extraterrestrial life, disclosure. And this is something that has actually come up very normally and very gradually over the years. So I think so over a series of events, I have realized that, I have this kind of a knowledge which can be shared. And maybe this is the most appropriate time to share it to the world. So that's about me very briefly, and I'll disclose more.
Me, I think I have been a curious kid from a very young age. I've always wanted to explore. In 3D life, I've done my engineering and I've done my master's in aviation. Post that, I took a calling, became a creative, and now acting as a creative director for multiple brands around the world. But spirituality is something that happened through life, through the process of things. And eventually, I met both of you in the spiritual retreat last year. And since then, things have not been the same, right? We have spoken so much about things that we always felt and no one to speak about it to. So many things that we wanted it to be out, to no one to discuss it, and we found each other, and now to be finally being able to do something together feels really great and exciting, and I'm really looking forward to it.
I mean, whenever you both were talking, I was thinking that I definitely want to share this because last year when I met both of you, I had no idea that how the things are going to unfold. I thought that, yeah, it is a spiritual retreat. Of course, it's a very great connection with somebody and it will last forever for life. That I definitely knew. But I had not anticipated that it will unfold into different interesting discussions. And I also remember that I used to talk to both of you on WhatsApp separately. So the track of discussion used to be a complete separate discussion. Like I'm thinking something and I ping Shaida to say something that, oh, I had this dream or I had this understanding. And the same thing I used to do with Karthik for some different things. And I didn't know that you also, both of you were talking separate. So how that whole thing came together, it's really amazing to see. And somewhere I feel that I already was on my spiritual journey doing different things. But when it comes to this specific topic, this specific project that we are getting into, which is Ascension Accelerator Program, which I already introduced to everybody, I am literally feeling like a child, like the kind of childlike excitement, because since my childhood I used to feel very excited about intergalactic stories. I used to read authors that are writing about some mysterious things, ancient civilizations, earth's history, or the galactic reality, or whatever. So I have always been interested in those topics. And when these things started coming together and we actually started talking to each other, then that excitement has really gone multifolds. And now I can't describe in words.
I think that's the difference of working in the 3D and the 5D.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And
Yeah.
every bit I'm enjoying, like whatever I'm doing, I do enjoy everything.
Yeah. Shaila, what was your life like before this whole calling showed up? Like, how did you read? You have so much immense knowledge. You have done a lot of research. So how did this whole calling happen to you?
So before this, before the calling, as I said, I was living a very 3D life. I was very happy and content with the life that I was having. In fact, at that time, I didn't know anything about spirituality, soul purpose, or mission, nothing. So at that point of time, I thought that I was very emotionally attached to my kid. So I was thinking that my whole purpose of, getting to Earth was to bear a child and raise this kid. And I was like very happy, a lot of gratitude to that phase of my life. Then I think so. Then things quickly changed towards after 2019. Okay, one step before in terms of research, even at that time, I was very much interested into hidden subjects. I used to watch a lot of documentary as such, but nothing related to extraterrestrial life outside. It was just a general documentary. I used to get any subject, I can get into the depth of that subject. And that too, it should be some kind of hidden facts, not the academic subjects as such. So that was my life before the calling. How I landed up in this calling was there were several factors and it happened gradually throughout the years. So it started in 2019. So 2019, I had a spiritual awakening. And soon after that, I think so, it was very quick. The series of events that followed in from 2019 to 2022, or even now, it was like pretty fast. So I figured out that there is something that is going on, looking at, inside me, what is going on with my body, as well as the external factors, external life. So soon after my spiritual awakening, there was the dark night of the soul. So just that everyone knows, spiritual awakening looks like a very fancy term, but it is a very painful journey. So at least in my experience of what I have observed, and that time I was not aware much. I knew that some kind of spiritual thing was going on, but I really couldn't put it into words. But now I do. But so at that time, what I felt was the Kundalini energy was rising up. So as and when it was rising up, it was actually clearing up my chakras. So it was a kind of a spontaneous thing which happened quite gradually itself, but my life was under chaos. So externally, if anyone sees me, I'm all okay. I'm just leading a 3D life, but inside I was like complete chaos. Like whatever were my strengths turned into weaknesses, and I could barely even talk. So if there is any office meeting as such, my voice will be, trembling literally. And I was at the lowest of my low during that time. So after that, somehow by the end of 2020, I was able to say that, okay, enough is enough. I was able to grab myself and, put back my life together. So that's when things started to unfold. Once I took kind of a control of what is going on, there were two things that happened. One was by the end of 2020, I was given certain meditations. I was drawn to certain meditations of pranic healing, and that's how my all my knowledge of spirituality comes from there, from pranic healing. So from there, from 2020 to even till now, I do a lot of courses of pranic healing, and that's where my life slowly started changing after that. And during this time, the second thing that happened was slowly I was being given a lot of information in terms of not as downloads, not as visions as such, but I would say in terms of content of what I was going through. So there was a lot of content which was coming in terms of extraterrestrial life, disclosure, things that were happening around the world, the hidden truth. And this was my area of doing research. So I was trying to get deeper into that subject. But there came a point wherein I realized that whatever is there in my mind, it is coming out. I was being fed the answers. So I felt that there is something else happening. I'm being monitored or given this particular kind of data. Now, when I look back, it was definitely in that way. So 2021, there was a mystical experience that happened. I'll come to that one mystical experience. That was also a very important one. But in terms of content, I would say from 2021 to 2023, I used to listen to everything. Whatever was there, I used to read everything. I used to eat, sleep, drink, everything about this subject. But over the end of 2023, there came a point when I realized that in the disclosure community itself, there is a different knowledge. So the truth as well as the false knowledge, wherein the truth is being mixed up with the false knowledge. So I was able to bifurcate which is the truth as such. And I was now able to select a few people who I follow to get all this knowledge from. And now I just get deeper into those subjects and I follow their books itself. So that is the first one that happened as my calling. So I was being guided to read about this subject. The second thing that happened was a mystical experience that I had in 2021. So it was around September, October that time. I wish I had the date of that day, but unfortunately I don't. But I remember maybe it was in September, October, sometime. So the experience was, it was one night, and it was not a dream, it was not a vision. This is something that has happened. I was sleeping on the bed and I had my daughter next to me. She was a kid at that time, and then my husband was sleeping next to her. So I could see consciously what was going around me, but my eyes were not opened per se. So on that night, I could see that there were two, when I say extraterrestrials, these were not human like people. I somehow feel that they were wearing long robes, and they were not using some uniform kind of a thing. And their skull, I think so, there was a bulge, an elongated skull. I feel that it was in that manner. And so when one was next to me and one was on the opposite side of the bed, which had a wall, and the wall was quite bright. The first feeling that I had was a nice feeling. It was nothing to be scared of. It was a very calm and very soothing feeling, not a very happy feeling at the same time, but I was very relaxed, very calm. And then what I can remember of, so it was some kind of a technology which was, I would say, round in shape. It was holographic. It can pass through the bed. And as it is passing, the colors it was emitting out was whitish purple. It was emitting out that color, and it is passing from my head, from my legs to my head. And as it is passing through my body, I could feel intense fan kind of a movement. So the closest that I can describe is if there is a drone on top of your head and it has this very little fans, and it is the intensity of the wind or the wind or something. It is very intense. That was the intensity. I can still feel the intensity as I'm saying, and it was passing through my whole body. And as it passes through my whole body, it passed through, and as it is passing, the way that I felt was there were that machine was like a scanning machine, if I can say so. As it was scanning my body, there were certain results that were coming on, which could be seen on the wall. And the other ET was seeing those results. I don't know who these people were, what they were scanning. I have no clue. The other very important thing that I would like to mention is as this entire process was happening, there was a phone vibrating next to my husband. There was a metal rack, metal stool kind of thing. And if a phone vibrates, it was not even ringing. If it vibrates on a metal stool, the sound it kind of generates, right? So throughout this entire process, the phone was vibrating. And that's how I know that it is happening in physical. And later on, also, I figured out, okay, this was happening really in real for me. So after the scanning happened, I was asked to turn around. And as soon as I turned around, I lost consciousness. I don't remember anything after that. Till date, I have not been able to figure out why they told me to turn around or what they did. I have no clue. I'm still in the process of finding out who they are, what they did, and what was their agenda on that night. But it was a good experience. It was not a negative experience. It was a very nice experience. And I somehow feel that that experience, they could have erased it out of my memory, but they intentionally kept it as it is for me to remember. I feel it in that way. So as soon as I don't know when they left, but at one point I woke up and the phone was still vibrating. So I just woke up and I'm thinking, what just happened? So I got up, I went to the other side of the bed and I picked up his phone and I saw, and it was 144. And that was the ultimate, I would say, a validation for me that, okay, they were for real and they are trying to send a message. And this 144 is like a big message. And entire incident, if you look at it, they wanted me to keep this memory. They wanted the phone to be ringing, and they left a clue which was 144. So this is not a coincidence at all. So there is something, maybe in the future I'll figure out what it is. But yeah, at the moment I don't have. I even went for a QHT session. I had taken it in 2022 in Gurgaon to figure out who these people were. But yeah, I couldn't really figure out. So yeah, it was a very long answer, but this was the second one. I could figure out that there is definitely a calling for this. And the third one was the retreat. Okay. So this retreat had happened in 2025. So till 2024, I was very lonely. I didn't had any friends as such. I had only 3D friends, high by types, but I never spoke about anything till that day. Whatever I had spoken, or my husband was able to see, he's my soulmate, so I was able to feed him certain data, but he was never up to date of what was going inside me as such. So till the retreat time, I thought all the star seeds have this information. They have all this information about galactic history and everything. So there is nothing new about this. But when I came to the retreat and I met the entire soul tribe, first of all, each and every one has their unique art and unique soul essence of it. So over there, I figured out, and I think so as days passed by, we all opened up and I said something about my history and all. And that's where I realized that, okay, I have this knowledge that no one else seems to be having. So this is definitely, there is something in this. And I think so it was on the third or the fourth day, I remember I was sitting and Pradya coming to me and giving the mic. And she said, maybe one day you will hold a UFO conference in India. And that was like an aha moment for me. Oh God. What did you just say? Oh God, really? I can do this? I have this knowledge. So that was like a very aha moment. And then I think so the rest is again history, wherein So many things have happened after the retreat. Maybe one day we will talk about it more. But yeah, to keep the answer pretty long so far now. So those were my three callings as such.
I just had goosebumps listening to. I've heard it before, but every time
True. I mean, I have heard this story from Shahida before, but I was thoroughly enjoying whatever she was saying right now. And I was also into that whole thing, like the way she was describing, like how they must have come, how they must have done all that. I was
yeah.
literally able to visualize that. So, yeah. Coming to my experience, since my childhood, I have been a very, very cheerful, bubbly, people's person. Like, I like to be around people. I'm very creative in nature. I will call myself a free spirit. So, whatever life I was navigating earlier in my early life, it was very good. But there was also another part to my life where I was also spiritually awakening. There were certain experiences in my life that put me into this path of self introspection, how I viewed life, how I viewed the whole world around me. I always considered myself as somebody different than others because I could see that whatever experiences I am having in my life, nobody else is having those experiences. So it used to feel like, oh, I'm like isolated inside me because there are people around me and I'm enjoying with them, but they are not actually able to connect with my inner world or whatever I am experiencing. That has always been there. And exactly the way Shahida discussed, like till she came to the retreat, she didn't understand that she's the only one who is having so much of in-depth knowledge when it comes to UFOs or that side of reality. Whatever understanding I had in terms of my spiritual knowledge, in 2016, I started realizing when I started sharing my experiences on the website called Quora, that why are so many people asking me the questions? It is like such a common sense. Why are people not even getting that? And then I started realizing that no, whatever I am knowing inside myself is my knowledge. It's not, it doesn't seem to be common to everybody. So that was my realization that, okay, there is something different that is coming to me that doesn't necessarily come so easily or so commonly to others. So that was also for aha moment for me that, oh, okay, I should not take whatever I am getting already in my life with my internal guidance or my intuition that lightly or don't take it for granted. Coming to the whole topic of the disclosure or how things are unfolding for this planet right now, including the UFOs, aliens, alien life, galactic realities, or any advanced technology. So, science and spirituality, like both these topics, I feel we believe that they go hand in hand. And I have observed that whatever I used to feel in my childhood, whatever topics used to interest me, as I started spiritually progressing in my life, I also started having more understanding about these things also. So the way the knowledge started coming to you, Shahida, it also started coming to me. However, I can definitely say that Shahida has done like amazing job in getting so much of depth. I mean, you have done such research for last 6 years. I mean, it is absolutely, you literally have become like an encyclopedia for me. Like whatever I have to cross check with anything, if that information is authentic or not, I just ask Shahida. That's like my go-to person when it comes to that information. It is commendable that the way you have gathered research, it's not easy having living your conventional life as well as tapping into all this information, which is even first of all difficult to even process for a lot of people. Most of the people's belief systems come into the picture and they would negate it outrightly, but you have not done that. You have accepted those things. You have gone so much into depth in terms of your own evolution as well as the research, and I am so glad that you are part of this whole project. I mean, if you were not there, probably me and Karthik wouldn't go ahead with this particular thing for sure. It was not our in our capacity for sure. But whatever things have been coming to me in this particular subject, it is pretty much strong. Though I have not done that sort of in-depth stuff like you, but I have got into the understanding of everything that you talk about, the extraterrestrial presence, technologies, their spirituality, their advanced civilizations, our ancient history, like everything I have been getting into in bits and pieces to a certain extent. And I do believe that, I do understand that, and I deeply feel this calling. As Karthik, you asked this, like, what is your calling? I can't pinpoint, but whenever I'm talking about these topics, it just comes as a very excited sort of a feeling. And I have this knowing that there is something that I have to do about this. It is very close to my heart, and there is a certain sense of responsibility there. I can't describe what it is, but it is there. And that's what makes me be into it so much with that sort of excitement. Coming to the experience, I definitely didn't have the kind of experience you had. Like it was like a real experience happening in front of you. I didn't have any sort of a direct encounter or any sort of a vision of that sort. But on 11th November 2022, there was a experience where I was shown these two people who were blonde and they had blue eyes. It was literally like a slideshow. I sometimes I feel that they are my spirit guides, and I kind of 90% I'm sure that they are my spirit guides. But you never know, like that 10% is still open, because I saw three visuals. The third slide that I'm calling it a slide because it literally moved like a slide in front of my eyes. And the third slide was a spacecraft, which is being seen from the bottom, as if I'm standing on the ground and the spacecraft is just up above the sky, like almost 20-25 feet higher. And there is this light beam that's thrown down on the ground. That was the scene I saw. So I could identify that it was some sort of a spacecraft, but I don't know why it was shown to me. There is no answer to those questions. But that was the third slide that I saw. So that is the only experience I can see. It was not my dream. It was probably a vision because it was literally shown to me. I clearly saw it, and I know that it was not my imagination. I was not imagining anything of that sort at that moment of time. So following that, there have been a lot of dreams or whatever. I'm not somebody who has witnessed a spacecraft and things like that. You both of you know Anya Schäfer, who is a German person who organizes UFO conferences in Germany. She had visited here 2 years back. We both had co-hosted this spiritual retreat. So she shared so many things about her UFO conference and all the people that she has been meeting. And it's like I'm talking to a person who has got like first-hand experiences in talking to me. So that was also one of the shift for me, like meeting Anya in person and listening to all the stories that she's telling me, because that time also I felt that this is something that I have to do, I have to get into. And I even asked her at that time that would you come to India with me and we would do something in India. And she said, I am willing to, but it's not my country. I don't know how to do things or how to organize things, so I would need somebody to be there. I don't want to do it on my own, and I was not in a place to do it on my own either, so we just dropped that idea. But now, 2 years after, we are talking about those things. And when I told this to Anya, she was also very excited. So I said, don't worry, we will call you sooner or later as the things unfold. So she's absolutely looking forward to that. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I have to say.
I was saying about your thing, which you were saying, I think so. You hold a very high frequency as a soul, as such. And I don't think this would be possible without you. What would I do with this knowledge? I think so. You're the main driver, and we are just the back.
When I consider this whole equation between three of us, I feel we couldn't be complete without
Yeah.
that combination. I
Yeah.
have thought about this multiple times. Like it comes to my mind when I'm doing something, and this thought comes that every one of us has a certain frequency and also a certain capability to do something. So, what you can do, I can't do, Karthik can't do. What I can do, both of you probably can't do, or what Karthik can do, we both can't do. It's
We
very
can't.
clear.
Yeah.
So, it's a
Yeah.
perfect combination. That's what I would say. Yes, Karthik.
Coming to my calling, I think, as I mentioned earlier, I've been a curious kid since childhood, and I always stood out. Like, I could not connect to my peers. Things like that made me, though my journey felt very lonely, it took me into the right paths of my curiosity to explore different things, right? And somewhere along the line, I was always fascinated about how the machines work, how are these aircraft working, and that's what took me into engineering. And also, I ended up pursuing my master's into aviation. But then, having science background, being spiritually awakened was somewhere because the world makes you feel like you're conflicted, right? Science is the main where you prove the point, but spirituality is just an experience you can't prove a point. But I feel there's a beautiful marriage, merging of science and spirituality, because I feel there is this old quote from one of my favorite shows which says, "What you know is just a droplet. What is there is a large, vast ocean." And that particular quote is what I took from. I'm like, then logically, I felt like science is can prove only 0.5 percentage of the what physicality is. There is larger, more things because everyone individually, just between three of us, we have had so many different experiences, but there is some commonalities. But it can't be proven in a scientific way. There might be in the future, they might be able to, but right now there is no. So I don't think we should disregard just because science can't prove these experiences in this stage of time, but also it's all interlinked. Science is very much interlinked. And that's where I started exploring a lot of different texts. And lately, last 1.5 years, though spirituality I've been into like now 6, 7 years. Last 1 year, I've gotten into a lot of ancient texts, mainly in Indian Vedas and Tantras. And I've been trying to connect the dots of what I know into the modern spirituality terms and all the concepts that all of us know. I've been trying to connect that with our ancient texts, and there are so many things that actually make sense. It makes sense that the older civilization knew so much more than what we have right now, and there is so much more potential to use that thing. So I think that my whole calling was, I believe, whenever something flows into your life very naturally, that's when you know there's a calling for it. So for me, everything felt very natural. I never thought of I would get into Indian texts and things like that, or get into a lot of these galactic experiences and stuff like that. So, but to being here now where I'm exploring different things feels very exciting and brings in a lot of clarity. And that's what I feel like growing. I just want to explore and expand my knowledge and share my knowledge. And that's what we are here for, is what I feel.
I also want to add on what Karthik said, that when it comes to Indian context, a lot of people feel that this whole phenomena of, even though India has been one of the countries who has amazing knowledge when it comes to space and astronomy as such, but when it comes to these UFO sightings and alien sightings and all that, a lot of people have this notion that, oh, all this is happening in the West, mostly in the United States or that side of countries, and it's not happening over here in India. But somewhere I was doing more research about it, and I found this research article where it is said that India is the third nation, like 45% people in India are believing in extraterrestrial life. And I was shocked to see the research based statistics that, oh my God, like India has so many people. And the thing is, nobody is actually talking about it. That people are
Yes.
seeing, but nobody's documenting that, or maybe they are, but it's not really visible to everybody in a very consolidated manner the way they are doing it in the US. Coming to our ancient scriptures or anything, there are so many evidences where there are temples which have been carved thousands of years ago, and you have this evidence of UFO pictures or things like that, where you know that, okay, this has been existing since probably thousands of years ago. So, somewhere I feel that this whole area of what Karthik was saying, getting into this area of science and spirituality, not to look it as a separate categories
Yeah.
which are opposite of each other. They need to be looked at as one thing because there is so much to know and understand more.
What would you
No,
have said 10 years ago if someone told you you would be doing this? Okay, that's the question. Okay, so if someone would have said that I would be doing whatever I'm doing right now, I think so. First of all, I wouldn't believe it. I would think that they're completely gone. I wouldn't really believe it because I think so that was completely against my belief system. So The community or how I have been raised is there is just one life, and whatever you're supposed to do, you are supposed to do in this life. Okay. So that is the way that I have been raised. And even from a religion perspective, I think some other religions also, but if you're not doing so and so, then after this life, God is going to punish you in such a manner. So that was the belief system I have been raised. And it now, with the research that I have doing or I have done, it is the complete opposite of what I have been raised with. For me, I don't think so. It was very difficult to understand this because the history spans out millions of years ago, and there are many texts, if you read, which talks about the great history as such. So, in a moment, you can just remove all misconceptions about these belief systems. These can be removed easily, and it happened very naturally. Even this happened very naturally since I was looking at the data points. And in brief, I could understand that if humanity is being suppressed in such a manner from fear, then that is not a positive energy. Any kind of species has to evolve naturally and progressively. And if that is not happening, then there is something seriously wrong. So if someone would have said 10 years back, I wouldn't have believed it because everything was against my belief system. So yeah. How about you, Karthik?
I agree. I think 10 years back, I was just a normal teenage boy
Yeah, you
exploring
must have been
life.
like a small kid 10 years back, I guess.
Yeah.
I was just understanding what the world was in very like the structural way. This is the path you have to take. This is the career you have to choose, and this is what your life will look like, and things like that. That's what you've been told, right? You've been put into a box of structure. But I'm glad one thing that spirituality has done is made me explore different things. So, but yeah, 10 years back, I think I would have, like, if I'd seen this video of if three of us 10 years back, I would say, like, we three people are just nuts. We're just three,
Yeah.
right? But coming now, I think that the whole belief system of things, the mystical experiences that I've had, and through my sadhanas, that the love and ecstasy that I feel, right, is immense. And that is not something is just for this. There is something vast, larger than us, is what I believe in. There's still a lot of things that I have to connect dots to, but that will happen in its own flow. But there is definitely something, and this particular project will bring us a lot as well. Yeah.
One thing that I wanted to add here was so before the retreat, we had this WhatsApp group. So everyone was chatting in the WhatsApp group. So that was the first time. I don't think so. I had seen Karthik also. By that time, it was just the WhatsApp profile pic. But as and when he was speaking or writing something, very early on, I think so. Everyone did. I felt like he's a very old soul, a very old soul in a very young body. Somehow he has landed up over here. The words that he uses or whatever he wants to convey, I am always impressed by the work that he does. So somehow, I think
Very
so. This
true.
has very
Yeah,
naturally come, but yeah, he looks very young, but he's like a very old soul.
absolutely. Yes, yes. And good that you mentioned that. Yeah. Coming to me, if I ask this question to myself that 10 years ago, what I would feel. In 2016, there was a huge milestone in my life which changed many things for me. So I would say that was like a beginning for my very aggressive spiritual progress. However, whatever I'm doing right now, if you even ask me, forget about 10 years. Even 5 years ago, if I had asked this question, like what would I be doing after 5 years? I'm not doing anything that I had imagined 5 years back. So it's a game changer for me that I had not anticipated also. I have not even dreamt in my wildest of the dreams that I would be doing these things in next 5 years. I had no clue even 5 years back. So it's a different thing altogether. I also remember in 2011, which is more than 10 years ago, that was the first time I came across one website called starseeds.net. Why? Because I wanted to share my experience and I was searching for some community that understands my experience. So in my Google search, I landed upon this website and there were some people who were also experiencing the similar things that I am experiencing. And I registered on that site and they had a big registration form and they asked questions like, do you believe in aliens? Do you feel that you are an alien? And I could not resonate with all that. I thought that no, I don't think that I am an alien. Or I do believe in aliens, or I don't want to knock out somebody else's belief. But I was myself not able to get into this whole scenario of aliens on Earth or any sort of that concept. But later it's really started changing very fast, and so many things shifted for me. I was even looking for that website, but now it doesn't exist. I mean, I searched for it, but it's not there.
So with that, what do you want people to understand? What do you feel they are not being told? Like if it was for us itself, what do you feel like there's a lot of things that's not been told to people, right? What with knowledge that you have now, what do you feel that it has to be told to people?
I think there are many things, and major hurdle I really feel when I look around is people are so busy in their mundane life. And I don't know if it is an ignorance or it is a laziness. And I don't want to blame people for that, but somehow I can see that and I feel bad about it. General example, like so much big hue and cry about destination weddings, for example. I mean, it's a very self-indulgent lifestyle, but there is something more to human life, but hardly anybody seems to be even caring about what it is. And another thing is there is another layer to that. There is so much of suppression. There is so much of stuff that is happening where people are kept in the deep state in our vocabulary. Those who are watching the videos should wait and watch for our more videos to understand what deep state is. But there are people who are in the deep state and they are just living their life without asking any questions, completely self indulgent lives. And I feel that no, you definitely need to move above that in some or the other way. I truly feel that. I mean, there are many things, but this is first thing that came to me, so I shared that.
I think so. Whatever we have been taught, if you look from a childhood perspective, whatever history that we have been told academically,
Yeah.
that is completely false because the history is completely rewritten by some people. So it is not only the history that we know of, but we need to tell what is the real history of the earth starting from millions of years ago and stuff. And again, from a 3D perspective, it would be more of a financial system, even the medical systems. There is a lot to be told about, both from a present perspective and from a future perspective. So this concept itself or the subject itself is so vast. So you have many layers of truth. So to it's just like peeling off the onion layer by layer. So even if we have to say the truth, then truth has to be told in different layers as such. So yeah, there is a lot to be covered. Maybe we will cover it in the future. But yeah, a lot has to be said.
I agree with both of you. I feel like there is so much to be like individually, a lot of people might be feeling a lot of things, which is not normal, but there's no one to discuss with, or there are not like people are not opening up in the space, right? Or not sharing their experiences. When that's not happening, you don't feel safe enough to share it with. Like you don't have a safe space for people to share things, even if they are feeling, even if they have a knowledge, right? And I think that is what is very important going ahead. That people have not been allowed to express themselves completely, even if they have felt something, even if that certain structure did not feel well for them. There is not a medium where they could share it openly without going crazy, right?
Yeah.
So without being told, oh, you're just crazy, man, like something like that, right? So things like that. And I think with one of our main intention with this whole project is to create that safe space for people to share their experiences as well, and also relate to if they have had certain experiences. So I think that is something that people need to be told and need to be shared and create an whole opening of things. And a lot of people will form an whole community out of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that is why I'm feeling very excited. Whatever you are saying, Karthik, is absolutely right. And somewhere I feel that the current timeline that we are experiencing, that there are so many things that are disrupting. There are wars, there is this whole geopolitical challenge, energy challenge, power control, things that are shifting between the countries. So there is a big outside chaos, different type of challenges that are still there, that poverty or a lot of population for third world countries, or violence, sex trafficking. There is so much that is happening in this world. So there is this dark side that we see, where you will feel that, oh, there is no hope for humanity at all, because there is so much that is happening on a dark side. But then there is also a lot that is happening on a good side, that so many people are having spiritual awakening, going through certain realization, starting to see beyond their self, their own life or themselves. And because of that, there is a certain change that is taking place right now in the current time. And if you remember, I had also shared this video with both of you, this particular person who had big time researched about the end of Kali Yuga. So the cyclic patterns, like how the dark times end and then always there is some sort of a new golden age that takes place. And I somehow feel that right now we are in that transitional phase of getting into the golden age, and that's why there is a huge transition that is taking place. And because of that, I feel that this timing is absolutely apt for us to even talk about these things, because I feel that it is going to help a lot of people to connect the dots between the scattered knowledge. It's not like people don't understand or don't know what we are talking about, but there is no coherence between two things. So somewhere I feel that we are here to connect those dots and give like one solid understanding to the person about the current times, why we are here in the current times, why we are choosing to even talk about it in the current time. There is a huge reason behind that, especially the coming 5 to 7 years are absolutely important, according to me. You
Yeah.
want to add something, Shahida, to that?
Yeah, you said it perfectly. Maybe regarding the disruptions, what we see in the news or what we hear in the mainstream media, they are giving us a completely different picture. So there is a bigger picture which is actually in play, and none of the media will cover it. So the deep state is being removed, it is falling apart. And as they are falling apart, we are being given, we as humanity and we as the people are given back the system. So this is the right time for us to get our power back and to establish all these systems. But in order to do that, first we need to at least have an awareness of what is actually going on, what has happened, what is happening right now, and how do you take that power back. So we will be covering those in the future. And I think this is the perfect time, and it has very nicely aligned also in this timeline wherein all three of us have come. So I don't think so. This is a coincidence. And if you just look at around you as to what is happening right now, from 2020, a lot of people have spiritually awakened, and at the same time there is a lot of disruptions. So you can do your own research and figure out a lot of things by your own, but we would be getting that subjects to you, because I think so all three of us have spent months and years individually on different subjects, and we can consolidate all of those and prepare that mind map kind of a thing to pass on this knowledge, so that it just becomes easier to have this information. And also we as humanity can get together to raise the consciousness of humanity. And it is very simple, there is nothing complicated about it. We are not saying that there is a particular process for it. There's no process, it is just that you need to just be in your highest good, and that's it. Everything else will be sorted once you're aware. So yeah, that's from me.
Beautifully said, Zaida. I think in terms of moment in time, I have already you both have shared everything. I would like to speak more about the program and telling people that there is so much more that we have to share. And this is the whole space we are creating so that we personally know, being in the regular life, it's not easy to grasp knowledge from different places and put together, right? It's getting these knowledges take a lot of time, and not everyone can afford that time in living these regular matrix lives, right? And I think a space like this, a project like this, is very important so that more people can come across this knowledge in easier basis while they're on a commute or while they're witnessing content on a regular basis, right? Let the good knowledge, good, instead of being distracted from things that are not required. These are the things that might probably help few people going ahead. So I think you both can add to the whole aspect of the project, but this is what I think is very important.
Yeah. So to add to that, I want to say, whoever is watching this, that we have started this Ascension Accelerator program, mainly aiming to India right now to start with, because we figured out that India is absolute apt place to start it, because there are other countries like Germany or USA, or there are some other nations who are already talking about this subject. But in India, in spite of India being the most ancient civilization, already witnessing many things that we are already talking about in this program, we don't have any sort of a obvious public platform that speaks about ancient civilizations, UFO phenomena, science and spirituality going hand in hand together, assimilating the knowledge from the authentic sources together, and giving you a complete whole understanding as a package. Why we feel it is important? Because the time is running out. Things are changing so rapidly in the next 5 years that even if you individually want to do some research and put your time there, it is practically not possible, and you don't even know as an individual what to trust, what not to trust. So if there is somebody who is giving you that ready thing, that this is what we have done, we have put hundreds of hours of research into this particular thing, and this is what you get, and you can 100% trust the authenticity of that knowledge, including the bigger picture and the whole understanding that we are trying to put forward, combining the science and spirituality, both these areas, into the one as a wholesome understanding. So whatever we are putting forward here through this initiative or a project or a platform is a very heartfelt calling, or a soul calling, you can say, where we feel that this particular knowledge or understanding needs to be shared to the masses right now. And I feel that India is the country to start with, because we don't have that sort of a platform in India. Of course, we would extend that platform further in the near future, but we want to take small steps at the time. So we are right now considering India as our audience, or what I want to call.
India is the first country wherein we could deliver live events.
Physical
Yeah.
experiences,
So
yeah.
yeah, so India is the first country where we would be delivering the live experiences to begin with. So the
We are
first
getting
event that we are coming up with is a live webinar, which is online, and people will need to be registering for that live webinar. Most of our focus is on the Indian audience, but we don't want to tell people from outside India that, oh, you are not allowed in our webinar. You are always welcome. But whatever content or the kind of things that are lined up in the near future for this year, they will be happening in India. That's why I'm saying that the webinar is aimed at Indian audience. However, if you want to be a part of the webinar whenever it is going to be announced, you can definitely register for that webinar wherever you are, in whichever part of the world. And yes, whoever is watching this particular video and you are resonating with whatever we are talking, please subscribe to this channel and stay updated with all the information that we are going to put, because the more we start getting deeper, it's going to be absolutely exciting. I would say a roller coaster of exciting information that would come. So make sure that you are subscribing to this channel.
And follow us on Instagram as well, because a
Yes,
lot of text.
Instagram
Yeah.
as well. It's called Ascension Accelerator on Instagram. Okay. Yeah. So thank you for thank you for listening to us and our blah blah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Pradya. Thanks for
Thank you.
Thank
driving
you.
this.
Thank
Yeah.
you, both of you.
Thanks, Karthik.
Looking forward
Bye.
to more such videos together.
Yeah.